Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the Sales Athlete Podcast. This is Ryan Groth, your host, and I'm gonna jump right in today with a guest who has been doing commercial roofing sales for a while. He works with a guy by the name of Will Miller and Priority Roofing, a group I'm familiar with, and he's new to the team, and he's helping to build out commercial nationally for Priority. So I love Will's big vision that he's always had, and I love that he's brought on some super talented people like Cody to do that. So if you guys know me, commercial roofing sales is the OG program. That's the original content that I put out there, and I'm super grateful for the number of success stories over the years. And so to meet a fellow pro in the game doing good work, I'm excited to get his insights, and hopefully you guys benefit a ton from listening today. So Cody, welcome to my show. Appreciate you, man.
Yeah. Thanks for having me, man.
Yeah. So you're at Priority building out a commercial nationwide sales team. How in the heck are you going to do that? Let's talk about it.
Yeah. So I joined up with Priority in February, and Will had a strong goal of hitting the national level. So I joined up with him and the COO over there, who's named Gabriel Zamora. Excellent leader, team builder, really good with processes and systems, things I lack in because, like most sales guys, are hit the floor running and let's run through that wall.
Yep.
Instead of figuring out a way to get around or over the wall. And so the combination of leadership, his style, and my experience, I've worked with a company before where we built out a nationwide program for the commercial division. I got it really successful and left there. So the biggest thing is it comes down to the team. You have that support in you, your back end, your training, your processes, and understanding a good sales pitch and ways to build relationships with clients. We talked about it on our phone call about the importance of building a service department and hitting service to build long-term relationships. And that is probably one of the best ways. That's where when I first started in commercial roofing, we had a full service department and would hit the service repair angle. And then when the claim came in, it came in, right? Right now, the model we have set up does not have the service aspect integrated fully yet, but it's coming out. I'd say probably in the next 3 to 5 years, we'll have a full service department tackling repairs, building those long-term relationships. But the biggest thing is the grind. You have to be resilient to be in commercial sales. You get told no a lot. You get blocked by gatekeepers. You got to overcome gatekeepers, get past them to get to decision makers. And it comes down to, in my experience, just other than having the team behind you, is your knowledge and your dedication to learn and grind. Without the hard work ethic, you're not going to succeed, and be willing to play the long-term game. One of the things we always say is commercial roofing is gardening. Residential roofing is fishing. Fishing, you go in a spot, you get a honey hole and you start catching a bunch of fish. Commercial, it's building those long-term relationships. It's multiple touches.
Yep.
It's understanding if there is, especially if you're working storm restoration model, if there's no damage, understanding the importance of pre-storm, post-storm inspections. If you have the pre-storm data, how to utilize that to your advantage versus coming in right after a storm. Can you prove it's new or old? And so if you get in the market before and you do an inspection, you have pre-storm data, it sets you up for success later on during the claims process if you're going through the insurance process.
Yeah, I'm interested in learning about that from you and how you guys go about it, is like the storm restoration side on commercial roofing. So kind of walk through how to be successful in storm restoration for commercial. Like what's best practice that you guys use over there?
So we don't like to call ourselves storm chasers, but obviously, a storm hits where we hit the market. We do have offices in multiple places. That helps us. That's a benefit to us, where we can say we have brick and mortar and typically within 100 miles of where we're working. That's established. But when you're going into a fresh market, you don't have that brick and mortar. It comes down to educating your client. And I don't know if you're familiar with the challenger sales model. I am not a reader by any means. I hate reading. But if you want to be a good and effective leader, if you want to grow as a sales rep or as a person, you have to read. I'm a big believer in that. That's something I push. Even though I hate it, it's something I overcome. We went through the challenger sales model, which is one of my favorite. It plays to my strengths, and I did a lot of the teaching naturally, but I lacked on the kind of the challenge at the end. Okay. And so it caused me to grow a lot more. So I believe in, when we hit a market, we get storm hits, we have a group text going, we're getting ready to dispatch out. We're either flying there, driving there. Typically one of us will drive with all the equipment and others will fly. and then we rent cars, and then we have a company truck there with all the equipment. And you deal with a lot of door knockers, especially coming from Texas. Texas is probably the hardest market to work in the nation. Right behind it, I would say, is Florida. I've worked both those markets, based in Texas, and you have 14,000 contractors in DFW alone, and you have to be able to outgrind others. But when you go into a fresh market, we always target owner operated businesses. We try to avoid chains if all possible, large property management companies, unless we already have a relationship that we established through a networking event. But we hit the good targets, owner operated, 100 squares or more. And we have teams cold calling, and we have teams door knocking and getting in and trying to get that appointment with the building owner.
Got it. So let's just say, storm hits in St. Louis. You're like, man,
Yep.
Look at the storm. So you do some data, you look around, you see how big it was, and then you would be able to determine, do you guys look up with a tool and software how many are owner operators with 100 squares or more on their buildings? And then at that point, you decide if you want to go?
Yeah. So you have apps like Reonomy. You have different property management solution apps where you can filter in the data and say, I can draw up the area, pull up Hell Recon. I have the Hell Swath. I have Reonomy open, and I draw out the map of where the swath hit. I say I want properties that are 100 squares or more. I want to target owner operated, and it populates a list. So now we have a list of contact information, a list of addresses, and we send the phone numbers to a back end team that's making calls, trying to set appointments, and then we have boots on the ground hitting those places as well.
So what's the pitch look like if you're boots on the ground? Let's hear that.
Boots on the ground, man. Yeah. This is Cody with Priority Roofing. We're a national ranked commercial roofing contractor, ranked number 18th in the nation. We are out doing wellness checks. We don't like to use the term free roof inspection, right?
Okay.
Just try to throw it. We're offering free wellness checks on your property. It takes me about 5-10 minutes. Get up there to look to see if there is damage. If there's no damage, it's fine. We'll give you a certificate of clearance. If there is damage, let's take the next steps and have your policy reviewed by a licensed adjuster. And so while I'm up there, if you don't mind, if you'll start looking for your policy just in case, because we know the storm hit, but we don't know what coverage you have. But we want to confirm that there's damage before we ever take the next step. And so we get up on the roof, do the inspection, confirm damage, yes, no. If there's damage, take photos of it, come down, get the policy from the policy holder, send it over to an adjuster that we work with. They review it. They check for deductibles, coverages, things like that, and say, okay, yes, this is a viable claim, or no, you need to look at a retail model for this. They have an ACV policy or a 5% deductible. You'll run into those a lot on the commercial side, and especially apartment complexes. 5% of a $43 million policy is about $2.5 million in deductible. Most of the roofs aren't over that amount. So in that case, we just flip it to a retail model where okay, we know there's damage. You need your roof replaced. You have interior leaks. Let's give you a retail option to replace that. But if it's got a good policy, everything lines up. We explain the insurance process from we did our inspection. Now the policy's been reviewed. It's time to file the claim. Once you file the claim, adjuster comes out. We meet with the adjuster as an expert, providing an expert opinion of what's going on, detailing the facts, and then they'll send their report, and then we'll go back and forth on that back end to get you fully recovered from the loss.
How long does that typically take on a commercial, on average, for that to hit where you actually get paid and you're doing their job? Like, how long does that take? What's that length of time?
I used to could tell you six months to a year, but more recently, you're probably looking to 18 to 14 months or 8 to 14 months for that whole process. As going back and forth, what I've ran into, I've worked with really good adjusters from the carrier side, and I've worked with some adjusters that get up there and it's their first time to ever be on a commercial roof. I love it when I get those guys because I'm like, okay, let's look at this together. Let me show you. I had an instance in Dayton, Ohio, where I had an adjuster. It was his third day on the job, and he's adjusting a commercial loss, and he's circling a bunch of things. I was like, man, where are you circling? He's like, damage. I was like, that's not damage. I was like, but all the stuff you just missed over here. And so he wound up telling me, he's like, honestly, it's my third day. It's like, okay, cool. Let's look at this together. Because there's a lot of particulars when it comes to commercial construction. You got to look at how you're going to load, how you access the roof, how you're going to get materials to it. Are you in a downtown area where you only have access to the front of the building? Now you have to have permits to block the street. You have to have safety equipment. You have to have scaffolding. You have to have spotters, making sure that nobody's getting hurt. There's instances when you're in Florida where you have to work with a third-party company that their whole job is to make sure you're OSHA compliant, and they get They get paid a lot of money to sit there and tell us to do make sure we're doing fire watches. If we're doing a torch down system, that we have somebody on standby, that we have fire extinguishers, that we have, that if we're within the leading edge, we're harnessed in. There's so many different aspects and components that take place that most adjusters don't understand. There are really good, a lot of your old school adjusters that used to do roofing. You get out there with those guys that know what they're doing, and they're like, if you can tell me why you need it, I can justify it. Those ones are nice because it goes by pretty quickly. But sometimes I just emotionally prepare for 8 to 13 months. I've had claims that have taken 3 years, unfortunately.
A long time.
Oh man, yeah. We got the roof on, and they released the coverage for the roof for this church, but it was interior damage. It's just not the best policy, and it had to go to litigation. And if you go to litigation, you're preparing for at least 2 years before the claim.
What do you guys find that you meet the most resistance in commercial insurance process? What do you meet the most? Is it at the door? Is it the cold calling? Like, I'm curious, how many calls until you get an inspection? How many cold walk-ins till you get an inspection? What are those typical numbers? And then where do you find that you meet the most resistance throughout the process?
Okay. Yeah, that's a good question. So about 100 calls, you should land 10 inspections. Terrible numbers.
Phone calls. What calls?
Phone calls.
I mean, that's 10 calls for one inspection. That's not that bad.
It could be better. Now, we have a guy on our team that he's probably the smoothest talker I know on a phone. I suck on the phone. I hate it, but it's a necessary evil.
Is this all he does full time, or does he go outside too?
No, he's inspecting. I'm training him up on the roofing side, but he's just a smooth talker, and he's really good, and he's got that country drawl. People love it.
Mm-hmm.
Where he lacks is the back end, the push. He's afraid to push clients or try to push for a signed contract. He's more reserved on that end. So he does great on the front end, but on the back end, that's where he needs coaching, and that's where we're coaching him now, is how to push the doll over the edge.
Yep.
So 100 cold calls, you should get around 10 inspections. We like to target in a fresh storm the outer swath. We don't go directly downtown to the larger damage. We work out and then in. That's how we train our reps, to work out and in. You have more success, and then you're going to wind up with 1 or 2 in the middle of the swath, but target out. Out of those inspections, working out to in, out of the 10 inspections you get, you're probably going to have anywhere from, every roof's going to have something wrong with it.
Yeah.
Bad install, needs repairs. That's where, when you have a service department, it works out great, because now you're targeting it not just on the insurance repair side, but you're targeting it on the retail side. Okay, there's no storm damage. Let's hit repairs where you're getting 60, 70% margins versus your insurance or retail rates for replacement, and you're building that long-term relationship.
Yep.
And so it's, without the repair department, you're going in fresh, just insurance job. You're probably going to get 2 or 3 that have good significant damage, enough to warrant replacement out of the 10. Now, if you're targeting 100 squares or more, those 3 jobs should be 300,000 plus in total jobs.
So if you have damage, it's enough. There's 2 to 3 out of the 10 inspections. How many of those actually get funded? Do you guys see
on average? If our team recommends filing a claim, I would say we have about 80% success rate getting the claim bought all the way through.
Okay, so 2 to 3.
We do have two in litigation right now, but it's just engineers arguing over what's damaged, what's not.
Okay, got it. So how many? Do you guys know your numbers on the walk-ins? The cold, is that a different number in terms of knocks?
So for me, I do better in person than I do on the phone. So for my target per week is about 50 drops if I don't have any inspections, and so a drop's a walk-in, door knock. It's cold lead you're going in. So out of the 50, I should be able to get on 10 to 15 roofs.
So
out of those,
almost twice as effective, but it's just more time, right?
It is more time. You have a lot of windshield time. You're driving. We worked the St. Louis tornadoes that went through, and I had a 90% success rate. I'll get on the roof. Out of the roofs we got on, I got on 15 roofs that week. We called in 8. So
it's good. So you guys, you got $1 million or so out of that, at least in St. Louis?
Yeah.
Nice.
My biggest one right now is in Edgerton, Wisconsin, but trying to deal with the owner.
So you have, the Challenger sale, I'm familiar with it. Let's talk about that here and kind of wrap up the last few minutes of this podcast with that. And maybe something else if we have time. challenger sale, what does that look like in storm restoration commercial? Educate, push back. What's that look like? You're teaching, so you're like authoritative,
Yep.
and you're pushing. So describe how that looks.
Yeah, so I lean a lot on my expertise on my certifications, trainings that I have. I have my registered roof observer certification through IPAC, which, I had to take a test, study every roof system, how it's installed. I utilize that to my advantage. So when I go in, especially if the owner walks the roof with me, a lot of people hate it. I love it. Because I can get there and start teaching. Take a roof, one of the roofs we looked at in Edgerton, Wisconsin, the biggest one I've been on. They had a IB, and not IB, they had a fiber tight roof system. And so when I got up there, I was like, it's damaged by hell, PVC roof. I'm a big proponent of PVC. I know a lot of people hate it, but I've seen success with it. It's a premium product, so you have to sell a little, be a better salesman than most. TPO's cheap; it's easy to sell. So we get on the roof, and I'm getting frustrated. I can't identify the roof. I'm like, "What's the manufacturer?" I was like, "I believe this is PVC." Finally, find it. There's nothing stamped except finally find it on a piece of turn bar tucked under. And while we were up there walking, and I was looking, and I was talking with the owner. I was going through like my thought process during the inspection. I believe this is a PVC system. This is the areas where they did good. This is custom fabricated boots or curbs. And then we get to another section. There was a section of TPO. And I was like, hey, just FYI, looks like you did this roof probably, 3 or 4 years ago. There's some warranty related items that you need to address. There's no damage on this section of the roof, but these are warranty related items. And I went through and showed him. I was teaching him, and he got a lot of value from it. And that's the biggest thing is you want to drive value. You want to establish yourself as a professional. You want to teach and then and show why they should work with you. You're not just asking questions. You're not just qualifying. I do believe in qualifying leads, but you're showing that value, especially when you're dealing with property owners that are very successful business owners in the commercial real estate space. They appreciate that value. And so when you can teach on it and show them why they should trust you as the industry expert, you build that value. And then when you get to the point when you turn over an estimate, especially if it's a retail estimate, I give them an estimate and they're like, well, why is it so high? It's like, remember the things we talked about? You said that you wanted, and you understood the ROI you were going to get on this, the tax savings, energy credits, the capital expenditure, all these things that we talked about that you said were valuable that you wanted. This is what it takes to do that type of system. Now, if you want something cheap or something just to get you by, then we can do that as well. But you told me your long-term goal was to hold this building. You were looking for tax savings and tax credits and tax advantages through either capital expenditure, or energy efficiency credits, or cutting down your cost on your electrical costs by heating and cooling the building. This is a system that it takes to get there. If you're getting another quote from somebody else for lower, there's probably a reason why. And if you could send me the scope of work, I don't need to see the price. If you send me the scope of work, I can tell you where they're lacking and what they missed in their estimate. And that's a lot of times they'll send me the scope of work, and I'm like, you're not comparing apples to apples. If you want to get in a competitive bid situation, I'm not your cheapest roofer. But what I can guarantee you is when we're done, you have a new roof that's going to perform to expectation. It's going to have a 20-year NDL warranty on it, and you have the guarantee for us. If it leaks, we're here to fix it. We've been in business for a while. We have the financials to support it. We're not going out of business anytime soon.
When you have an insurance attempt that flips to retail because of the value doesn't make sense with their policy and it's not as much as the deductible or whatever, so might as well just pay retail. What's the success rate usually for you there?
So I grew up in the commercial roofing industry under retail only and not doing insurance restoration, but that was new to me. With probably in the last 6 years, I got more on the insurance side. And so for myself, I'm still utilizing a lot of the same sales tactics, the NDL warranties, the tax savings, tax credits, energy savings on the building. And then I always tell them after I do my due diligence and I put together a scope of work and an estimate, the only thing you'll ever get a change order from me on is for decking. And that's because we're going to do it on a piece by piece basis. I don't want to tell you need all new decking and you don't. Or I don't want to say, hey, if we have to do any decking, I always tell them like, this is my locked in price per square foot, and we'll send you photos and a measurement of how many square foot we had to replace. And so when you see my estimate, it's going to be higher than probably all the other competition, but just know that you have a guarantee that I'm not coming back with change orders unless you want to upgrade something.
That's cool, man.
And so my success rate on the retail side is probably around 65% of what I quote out.
Yeah, I like the ability to do storm. I mean, you guys are storm first, so you're leading with it. A lot of companies that are local to their market are retail first, but they don't ever learn
Yes.
storm. And I think that's something that it'd be make you pretty dynamic to be able to do both.
It does. If you get locked in, you can get locked into one frame of thought or the other. We have markets that we have reps in that are retail first markets. It just they're on the storms. Are big enough storms to damage a commercial reef system. And so those markets are more retail markets. And so when they have to go into a storm area or they do get a storm, you see that hesitancy and that I don't know this as well as I need to know it to get through. And that's where the team comes into play. But for your local companies that are staying in a region, it's not if, but when. It's probably one of my favorite things I heard a guy say. It's not if a storm's going to happen, but when is the storm going to happen? There is a need to understand the insurance market and insurance game because essentially it's a game, and understand how to be able to support your clients as a contractor of record in a way that's going to benefit them and benefit you as a contractor without violating UPA violations or laws. And
Yeah.
so there's a fine line you have to toe when you're doing insurance restoration, and when you understand the laws and what you can and cannot say, or how the process works, and you can actually guide your client through. It's very beneficial for any contractor to learn. It may not be your first choice and it may not be the thing you lead with, but it is definitely an industry that you need to be familiar with.
How many years have you been selling commercial roofing?
A little over 10 years now.
How many dollars would you say you've sold in over
Oh,
10
man.
years?
So first year ever commercial roofing sales, I sold about 6 million in roofs. And then I had one insurance claim that was not roofs alone that was over 20 million. That was my first year. Second year, I did about 3. I took a recession. I didn't have the big claim, and it's still learning systems. And then when I went out on my own, I was doing the production side and trying to train sales reps. And that's when I started learning residential. Realized I do not like residential. It's an emotional purchase instead of educated purchase. And so, but I still consistently sold 2 to 3 million a year while I had my company. Last year was probably my best year. I had 28 million under contract. This year, I'm on track to have about 32 million under contract.
Like 32 million in commercial roofing sales.
Yeah, signed deals. So
Yeah.
I
Not
have
all
8 signed
cash
right now.
collected may not all happen in that first year.
No, and that's the other thing is you got to wait long term, right? And so it's that's the hard part.
You just get
So
like
probably
last
over
year
the
you did
last
28, you're gonna have to kind of push through and get this thing all the way to get collected. And some of it may fall through. Like it may
correct.
not.
Well, but we still have agreements in place. So like if it's insurance and they back out the agreement, we still get paid for the work we did.
Okay. Cool.
So
That's dope, man.
some of it's collecting is still collecting. Most of it's been through production. And then this year I have 3 that had to go to litigation, which is I always try to avoid it at all possible
Yeah.
because it does drag the process out, but sometimes you got to do what's right for your client. But I gave our team a goal. My goal in the next 3 years in sales is 100 million in contract
Solid, man.
over the next 3 years.
Cody, it's been great having you on. Impressive knowledge here. I love your thoughts in the game, and it's great. For those wanting to connect with you, what's your method of just staying in touch?
So my LinkedIn, it's Cody Russell. I post content on there, just kind of what I'm seeing. My Instagram is Cody A Russell with 2 underscores. I'll post content on there as well.
Cool.
And then if they can direct message me if they have questions, I don't mind helping and educating. That's one of the things I really love to do.
Yeah.
Helping another roofing company in Pittsburgh with their insurance claim with no expected income
man.
from it.
It's great. Well, thanks for being on, man. I appreciate you sharing your knowledge. And yeah, it's great to see what you guys are up to. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it.